Hey everybody, Chris Roberts here with Sterling Rhino Capital. And today we're going to talk about why people fail in real estate. I'm going to give you 4 specific examples of how I feel people can fail in real estate. And it starts with education. Are you properly educated? You know, it doesn't matter if you're buying a single family house, you're buying a multifamily, a mobile home park. You need a proper education to go in and execute these many elements that are going to go into buying this particular asset effectively. So if you go in and just buy a property because someone tells you it's a great deal or the price is really low, or maybe you just got a couple bucks and you're going to pay cash for something without properly vetting it, you can get yourself in massive trouble, massive amounts of trouble. Example, just a quick example on land. So I've had people come to me and say, "Yeah, Chris, I found this great deal on land. It's 200 acres and it's only $150,000, and we're going to build this, we're going to do this, we're going to do that." And the first question I ask him is, what are the land surveys like? What are the setbacks like? Are there any wetlands on the property? These are some of the general questions I ask about the piece of property. Or will the property perk? And they go, "Well, perk? What do you mean perk? What's perk?" And perking means basically that you can put a septic system on there or perhaps dig for water, get a well. There's all these little things that you need to think about beyond just a piece of property being a great buy. So that's just one example. But if you educate yourself properly, you'll not only know what perking is and how far you got to dig for a well, 100 feet versus 1,800 feet, but you'll also understand the setbacks, the wetlands, the wild preserves maybe that border your property, and easements maybe perhaps that give you limited access to your property. All of these things can be found through the proper education and reading up on them. So that's just one example on land, but there are hundreds and hundreds of examples in purchasing larger multifamily assets or even in a single family asset. Things you want to watch out for are, chemicals that might have been used on the property, asbestos that might be in the walls, and the list just goes on and on and on. So don't get these wide eyes thinking, I'm going to buy a piece of property, I'm going to make some money, and I'm going to be on my way. There's many things that go into buying property, and it just starts out with educating yourself. So you got to educate yourself. If you don't educate yourself properly, you can fail miserably. So the next thing you got to do is you got to follow the numbers. So I see people fail all the time in not following the numbers. They follow their emotions. They see a property and they think to themselves, man, this is a great deal. And I'll ask people oftentimes, what makes it a great deal? Sell me the deal. Explain it to me. Just help me understand your perspective. What makes you want to buy this property so bad? And oftentimes it's emotional. I've got a little capital and I've got to put it to work. I can't sit on it any longer. Or it's in the right neighborhood, or we always want it to be over there. Or it's a hot market. These kinds of things can set you up for failure. You need to educate yourself and understand all the numbers. What's the cash flow? What's the CapEx? What's the vacancy rates in the area? What's the average rents in the area? How much can I cash flow in the ups and downs? If a catastrophic event occurs, what is my break even? And the list just goes on and on and on. But you've got to break out a couple of spreadsheets, some numbers, maybe implore someone that understands the numbers if you don't, and allow those numbers to guide you, because if you don't, you can fail miserably and you could potentially lose your property all based on emotion instead of letting the numbers guide you, the demographics, the stats, things of that sort. The other thing I see is people spend all the money. I'm keeping it simple here, but that's really what it boils down to. Are you going into buying this property with the proper reserves? Do you have in mind that you're not going to be living off of that cash flow, at least today? Do you have enough room in there for you to build up reserves, build a little extra cash flow, and then when the time's right, you can pull a little bit off. You can distribute some of those profits to you and or your partners. Not just, okay, I'm going to live off of this property, I'm going to go buy the next one, and then I'm going to live off of that property. That can get you in big trouble, because if you don't have your personal finances in order, where you have other streams of income that are supporting you, you can end up living off of that cash flow. And then if something occurs where you have a vacancy for more than a couple of months, or a larger CapEx event like a roof collapses or something like that, it could literally sink your deal. So when you go in, make sure you're somewhat capitalized, or at least you have others maybe that are coming in on the deal that are capitalized with you. This could be single family or multifamily. and make sure that you've got plenty of capital to deal with any sort of unforeseen issues that might come up. And by all means, don't drain the capital. Don't drain the bank account because you have bad spending habits. Make sure that asset is treated like a bank, a business, and all on its own so that it can survive any issues that might occur. And then the last thing I see that really messes people up or sets them up for failure is fear and outside influences. You know, many times people will get into a deal or even just have discussions about a deal, and they'll have all of these naysayers around them saying, you know, you can't do this, you can't do that. And most of those people have never even bought a property. Or someone gets into a deal and they get in over their head and they let fear drive them, which could ultimately set you up for failure. You have to trust your instincts, but you have to educate yourself, follow the numbers, and go through those other basics so that you can overcome that fear when it comes. You know, there's all kinds of sayings out there. There's some great sayings by the Navy SEALs and law enforcement and many others that talk about overcoming fear, facing it, going back to your training and all that. And you have to use that in purchasing real estate as well. And just remember that if you spent the time educating yourself up front, just like painting a house, you got to do all this prep work to eventually paint it. And then when you step back, you can tell that somebody really put the time in because they took time painting those lines and cleaning everything up really nicely instead of just rushing into the job. It's no different. And if you do those things and you build up that confidence, then you'll be able to push through the adversity and the challenges versus being nervous and reckless in the very beginning and then just pushing your way through, trying to will yourself to success. It just doesn't work that way in multifamily. So basically, to summarize, it's educate yourself, follow the numbers, don't spend all the money, and push yourself through the fear and avoid the naysayers. And you will be successful in real estate, whether it be single family or multifamily. Those are just a few tips on how you can be successful and how you can avoid failure when investing or buying real estate. Thanks. I hope this is helpful. Have a great day, man. Hey everybody, if you like this video, click the thumbs up below as it helps educate others by generating more views. And don't forget to subscribe. If you want more inspiring content, follow us on Facebook and join our investor think tank group. With SterlingRhinoCapital.com, my name is Chris Roberts. Till next time.